Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtrothy. It is hot. That's not supposed to be here. Go away. I am hot. It is the end of the week, and that means it is the Friday show, almost on time today. Uh, it's still on Friday, which is nice. We are sitting once again outside of the nice Fleet City. Oh, And we have lots to go over today. There's been a lot to do, or lots to talk about, and there has been a lot of drama. I've been stirring the nest, and so we want to talk about all that. So let's go ahead and start with the PCU. Let's talk about the PCU. So this is just a little bit of drama that's been going on that people have been talking about. So this is in particular is sprung up on Reddit, where you have this this people pointing out that there's this dramatic drop off of the PCU, which is the peak concurrent users, right? So this graph right here measures the maximum number of people that are all logged in at any given day, right? So if at any given time no more than 20,000 people log in, or 30,000 people log in, then that is the PCU for the day. And then from that, you also get like the PCU of the year and all that sort of stuff. So here we have the kind of the troughs of the graph over time. And those peaks are basically the PCUs of the days, I'm pretty sure, is how it boils down. Anywho, it depends on what level of granularity you're looking at here. But what you can see is that starting in June, oh my God, this has been this dramatic fall off. And so it's like, this must be all of these problems that CCP has done. They're causing all of these issues that is causing the player base to get angry. And so I made a post that explored this issue a lot, because I hate the PCU, or I think that it is a terrible metric. It isn't a metric. It's a metric that we made up. And it's based on the fact that the only stat that we know that we have for this kind of thing that's consistent for the health of the game is how many people are logged in. And it isn't actually the only, I want to say that it isn't the only metric that we know, because there's also, kill reports, and people have shown like the amount of kills per during one time or another. Although there's a lot of things that can skew those numbers and cause you to be able to use those stats to kind of, get whatever argument you want out of the whole deal. But either way, the PCU is what people like to go to show that the game is having problems. And once again, it crops up. So I explored this issue more in depth in this post. I said, okay, well, let's look at last year. You can see, oh no, that pattern doesn't hold to last year. Well, what? And this is again what a lot of people are pointing out. Year to year, you can see this is a difference. And by the way, this is something that I've been asked repeatedly on streams and all that stuff. So I just wanted to settle it once and for all. Is a big thing for now. Once and for now. Anywho, so you can see in 2020, in the same period of time, January to July, there is a little bit of a dip, but there's even like a pickup right afterwards. But the problem is that this is pandemic lockdown time, right? So in fact, what you really see is this is flat, and this spikes up and then goes back down. So the rise of the pandemic and the dip of the curve, if you moved that curve down, so that way this was flat prior to it, it would look very similar. It would be basically right to there, which is what you see here. But you don't even have to believe that. Like, that just lets us see, oh, okay, that's the pandemic is in play. But this is also lockdown. You see the, that is going to end before now, at least in some regards. I also point out that this is the new player accounts made graph, and you can see that there is a big spike right at the beginning of the pandemic as a lot of people go and try out Eve, and it stays pretty high as part of an overall trend towards higher numbers in people trying out the game. another very deceptive metric. So I'm not going to try to claim that that's anything fancy either. But if we go back to 2019, you can see here's this trend again. And in fact, here you have a 25K average instead of a 31K average. People can't see my mouse if I'm trying to use it. I mean, you can imagine it in your mind's eye. Let me fix that real quick. May I have capture cursor? I don't think we get my cursor. So use the mind's eye. Pretend. Any rate, so this, you see, we are at an average significantly lower, but you still see that dip from the average. Likewise, in 18, you see the same thing. Flat dip. Flat dip. It's almost like there's a pattern of July gameplay. And in fact, one of the things I found really funny is that this guy posts, not funny, but this guy posts these stats later on, and really all it shows is, in fact, there is currently a maybe somewhere between 5 to 20% downward, or let's say Eve is the outlier. So let's say 2, 3, and 11. So let's say there's a 5 to 10% suppression on the entire industry right now for both the pandemic and summer coming out. Obviously, Dota 2 is doing really well. They've done something particular to uptick it against that. And Eve has other factors making it more extreme. But I also talk about those other two factors. We have two factors in our game that they don't have, which is the war has more or less ended. And put a pin in that, which is lowered at least some of the peaks of peak concurrent users, because some of those peaks are going to be influenced by bigger fights happening during the peak time, therefore pushing the number higher. And also people are going to be logged in just watching things idling a lot more. And then also the thing that's very important to note, and I think that not enough people talk about, is the mobile observatory changes. In the same way that bots were, when bots get kicked down, that also kicks down the PCU because bots are active all day. When AFK playstyles get kicked down, then that lowers the PCU because AFK people are on all day. AFK cloaky people will always be active during the PCU, basically, because they're AFK. Whenever the PCU happens during the day, the AFK player is there. So if there's 100 or 1,000 AFK campers somewhere in the universe at any given time, and then suddenly that's not really a valid gameplay anymore, because you can still camp, you can still cloaky camp, but you're not AFKing it anymore. The chances of them being active during the PCU time period is significantly lower, and so that population is basically completely removed from the PCU, which will further suppress the number. So because of those four different factors, we're seeing this dramatic decrease, which isn't really all that dramatic. So to summarize, I hate the PCU. It's a terrible stat. It was always a terrible stat, but this time I have better evidence about it. Now I'm going to check up on all the comments. Cool. A cloaker could create a local script to cycle their cloak every 15 minutes. But you've now asked somebody to go from following the rules to not following the rules, which I hope would be at least a barrier to some people. Like, yes, if you want to break the rules and risk getting caught doing it, you could absolutely bot it. You probably have better things to do with your bots if you're willing to do that. By the way, if I'm super dark tonight, it's because it's super hot and I'm not putting on all my lights. It would be hard to prove, but my point is that either way, there's significantly less people AFK camping today than there was 2 weeks ago, and that's what matters. Is the practicality of it, because that's what these numbers represent. Is the real numbers of it. Those people who did AFK camping, and more importantly, people that did camera eyes or any of that kind of stuff, bot or not bot powered stuff, but like API powered stuff that uses like chat scraping and stuff. Like they were skirting the line, but automating input to keep them safe would be crossing the line. So a lot of those things have seen a lot less use recently. Either way, my point is that those two extra factors influence the current factors. No one of those factors has to be the answer. They all compound on each other to make what we see happen. And quite frankly, especially given the fact that CCP is hopefully going more and more after bots. And by the way, I've seen a lot less bots in the Warzone. I'm tentatively hopeful, but maybe that's just because they've done taking systems. But like if CCP is mitigating AFK and botting playstyles overall, that's going to continue the trend of seeing a lowered PCU. But at the same time, that actually represents a more real number of real players. I apologize. Oop. My son's more popular than I am today. I apologize for if that was really loud or something too. Okay, so let's move on. This is a silly topic. I just wanted to cover it. Monthly economic reports. Speaking of silly topics, here's just a curiosity that we saw today that I just kind of wanted to bring to light. This is probably something that people have noted before, but I thought it was really interesting. So in ISKs and faucets, here are all of the top ISKs, faucets, and stuff. Triglavian invasions got a lot of attention. It actually went down this last month, which makes sense given the trend that we saw it against, especially since I think this is stats for the previous month. Anywho, what was noted was the fact that Project Discovery rewards represented almost 1 trillion ISK worth of payouts. Project Discovery. And the thing about Project Discovery is that reward is A, not including all of the skins that you get, B, not including the Marshal that you eventually can get. This is just the raw ISK payout from completing Project Discovery. So I was really curious about this, and I went back, and not only has that been consistent, this isn't like a new trend where somebody's figured out how to exploit it. This actually goes all the way back. If you go back to like the tail end of the previous Project Discovery, it was flagging like 300 million a month. But if you go back to the heyday of the last phase of Project Discovery with the planets, that was also 1 trillion ISK a month. And here we have 1 trillion ISK a month of people doing the COVID-19 research. So the interesting thing about this is that this has a limit to make it so that people can only do, I think, 20 million or so ISK a day per character, assuming that you have really good standing. So this is a lot of people engaging in this, which is awesome. But yeah, this is a raw ISK faucet. Unlike insurance unlike agent missions, which also comes with its own costs, and also lost ships and other costs and fees that are involved in regaining losses. That this is just ISK from nothing being handed out to people no matter where they are. And I'm not even saying this is a bad thing. I'm saying that if you're not getting involved in Project Discovery, let this be a wake up call. People are, it's a great thing to do while you're plexing, while you're mining, while you're missioning, even if you're having boredom during the Abyss. I was thinking about trying out some of that in a little bit, but hold on. I suddenly just got super paranoid, and that's a good thing too, because I was just not cloaked in lowsec, which is probably bad, very bad. Don't do that. All right, so that was cool. That was an interesting little doodad that I wanted to bring to people's attention. Oh my gosh, I need to get animated emotes. I need to get animated. There's so many things I need to do, guys. Anywho, oh shoot! Also, before I continue, I want to do one more thing, which is I'm going to go and start the giveaway now. Streamlab. I'm going to start the giveaway now for the Scope Syndication skin, and we'll pull it in like a half an hour or so. I do a giveaway of a Scope Syndication skin every Wednesday and Friday for my Wednesday and Friday show. Notice I said Wednesday and Friday. I'm going to see if that works out better than Tuesday and Friday. And also I give out extra ones for things like Hype Train, special events, etc. So in the meantime, if you're watching this on YouTube, first of all, thank you. Second of all, you got to catch it live for these. But I was thinking about doing some giveaways for skins on YouTube as well per month. But we'll see. That's not yet. Way. Boom. All right. Exclamation point plunder for your chance to win a Scope Syndication skin Megathron. And we'll get back to the news. Next, oh yeah, this is the project. For those who don't know about the Project Discovery, I just wanted to show off a little bit. This is the Eve Uni website for it. So you're doing the flow cytometry now, and this is involved in the. This is basically COVID-19 research, which is super cool. So this helps break down. This isn't so much of a guide as it explains the rewards and everything like that. So at level 650 you get the Marshall blueprint. Sorry, at 500 you get the blueprint. At 650 you get the biosecurity responder skin for the Marshall. Each level that you make up to level 25 gives you one skin. Once you get to level 25 you get two skins, and you get the cooler skins. So there's secondary ISK rewards in that too, although not much. Those skins are pretty common, although they do look really good. There have been like individual Plex rewards inside of these things. I've seen one, I think, myself. And then, as this points out, if you have really good scores, you can make basically 20 million ISK a day by doing samples. So just another thing to add on to your playstyles to maximize your stuff. And this is real citizen science, so it's a way to help out with real science. Which brings up the point that some people say, oh, what if you automate it or whatever? Don't be a dick. It's real science. It's not worth messing up for ISK. Anywho. Like, there's video game dick, and then there's that. Also, I wanted to bring up that it was brought to my attention that Eve Reader podcast and was no longer online. Like, the actual website, evereader.org, wasn't available. Well, I got in contact with Zendane, and I asked him about it, and he wasn't aware. So he thanked me and us for letting him know. And I am happy to note that the Eve Reader website is back up. So if for some reason you were waiting on that, Eve Reader is a great dude, or a great show made by Zendane, who he's read a bunch of the Chronicles. The one that I really, really recommend to people, like the must watch, is, where is it? Jovian Wetgrave is really good if you want to understand about Capsuleers, like who we are as pilots. Where is it? Old Man Star tells the story of the Stargate in Old Man Star to Valor. But this is it, Inheritance, right here. This was a monumental episode. It's like an hour long. He has several people, two or three other people help him with voice acting for it. So this one and others are now up back on his website. Yay. And I will be hopefully doing an interview with him soon. Also, uh, in websites or backup news, I also got in touch with Fyridian from Hydrostatic Podcast, and so those archives are also backup. So the Hydrostatic Podcast lore archives or podcast archives are backup. You can watch all of the original Hydrostatic episodes, or sorry, listen to all of the original Hydrostatic episodes, including the Know Your Lore sections where we did breakdowns of various chronicles, and you can listen to me learn the lore in real time from Fyridian back in like 2014, 2015, 2016. And maybe even listen to some of the interviews of some of the guys that are still there today, people like CCP Fozzie, some that aren't there, like CCP Siegel. And, you know, I think it's all pretty interesting stuff still. But in the event that you are interested in it, there it is, Hydrostatic Podcast Archives. Also, there's a soundboard, which I'm hoping is just as good as it always was. Yeah. Oh wait, this is only. Oh yeah. So this is our outtake soundboard. So the other day I was asked about the Sisters of Eve because like, oh, are they bad guys? Are they not bad guys? And every time I hear that, it makes me think of a specific outtake. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Unplanned. This is great, right? Oh, hold on. Before we do that, here is CCP Convict. Before he was CCP Convict, uh, accidentally giving Steve Ronikin credit for creating the Eve or the Tweet Feet Slack. Spoiler alert, I'm the one that did it. Oh, so there you go. Hold on. I'm gonna have to see whether or not these are all the ones I wanted or not. I'm not gonna just start reminiscing in front of everybody. I thought I had something cool. These are really, a lot of these are really funny, but I'm not gonna do this in front of you guys. So moving on. I'll find some cool stuff and bring it back. Hobeleaks. So, this over here. On Hobeleaks, we get these are the jackets. I think I showed these off the other day. Basically, these are going to be the Amar and Kaldari jacket and pants for their fiction, their what's it called? Propaganda contest. Just like the Galente did a propaganda contest this week as part of the Federation Day, each of the empires for their foundational Foundation Day celebration will have a propaganda contest as part of it, and that during that time period, that and other contests will have these clothing items as rewards. Whew, that I know it sounded like I was like stepping around landmines or whatever, but like I just wanted to be, because they also gave away these skins during, or these for I think the top rewarded rewards for the trivia contests. In addition to that, we see the Aegis security battleship, cruiser, and frigate get put in, and they also got some new behaviors added to them. I think today. Um, this plays into the Aegis landmines and other Aegis site information that they've been putting in. Makes me very suspicious about what they're going on. There's clearly more coming. This also references a capital ship security facility, which okay, you have my attention. Karen Midgular was the head of the Mimitar Republic during the beginning of Empyrean Age, and this Murator memorial statue. Murator is a general slash defector sort of troublemaker that Midgular eventually signed off on the Navy going and capturing and killing. So this is obviously, these things are all part of the Liberation Day event stuff. probably, which is the Mimitar event, Foundation Day quadrant event. We can see here that the Mimitar Liberation Day is from July 10th, or is on July 10th, with July 7th through the 20th being when there's more, or when they're going to be doing all their activities and stuff. So that would make it basically right after 4th of July. Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? So there's going to be 4th of July weekend next weekend, and then that Wednesday kicks off the Mimitar Liberation Day festivities, which goes on through the 20th, which is a lot longer. Which brings me to a little bit further. So we have all of these new headquarters. They said that the Liberation Day stuff is going to basically, this is a tribal games. So you get to work for one of the tribes, and I'm assuming earning points for your tribe to try to see like which tribe will win. So the focus is really on helping accentuate the differences between the different tribes of the Mimitar Republic. And so to that end, they each get their own headquarters. They also get their own tattoo for a reward and some other things that I've seen so far. And they also have, here's their flags, whatever that's for. The tribal council station, probably part of one of the events sites, like one of the central sites or something. But then we get into these irregular frigates, and irregular cruisers, and irregular battle cruisers. Irregular means event, right? So if they introduce new event rats, they will be called irregular frigates or whatever. So unless they're invasion or diamond, those are different. So, but if it's just like, if for like the hunt or the winter event or whatever, they're always used irregular. So here we have event frigates that say, or ships that say reenactment drone. So this is telling me that there's going to be a combat site of some kind, because these guys have stats. They do things. And so we're going to go in and reenact fights, effectively reenact the liberation of the Mimitar by fighting these rats in these sites as a way of like one of the things that we can do. So this may actually be, there may be a combat mechanic to the Liberation Day. And these spawners, so this would be the high sec beacon, the low sec beacon. It doesn't look like it'll spawn in null sec, which, I mean, if you think about it, makes sense. In addition to that, we also see the cloak stabilization booster, which we know is coming. This is a booster that lets ships like that want to stay cloaked longer without being decloaked by an observatory. Takes this booster. I think it doubles their length. So, like for instance, those super capitals that were complaining that they couldn't stay cloaked the whole time, now you can. What are spawners? So this is what you're seeing here is because HoboLeaks sees everything that they add. So spawners are literally like objects in the game, in the world, that you will never see. But like when rats spawn, they spawn at a spawner. That's what spawners do. Just like you'll see effect clouds and other stuff like that. Those are environmental pieces that, or mechanical pieces that let the sites work. All right. Desktop audio isn't playing, unfortunately. Now it is. Did I play audio earlier? Oh, I didn't even. That's right. I played it. I played the hydrostatic stuff earlier, and the audio didn't even work. So that's even better. Don't worry, none of it was good. I'll play the one. This is this is that one that I mentioned earlier with him telling me that it was that he made the tweet fleet Slack.
So I love the Slack thing. I'm glad Steve set it up. What, Steve didn't set it up?
What, the tweet fleet
Oh
Slack?
my god, this is
What?
so great.
I'm done.
What?
I'm fucking done.
Oh, is this
Honestly,
you?
Steve did such a good job on this. I'm really glad that we had him take the.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. In about
Oh,
5 minutes,
shit.
we're going to start over and try this again.
Oh, wow.
So that was CCV Convict back when he was just Bam Stoker back in like 2016, I think it was. Accidentally thinking that I did it work this time? I think it worked this time, right? Should have worked this time. Anywho. All right. So, and then one of the other things I found interesting was that these fire tails that you would expect and stabbers that you would expect to be part of the sites, like fighting, they're large collidable objects. So these are set pieces. So we go into these set piece environments and then fight these Amarian rats, it would seem. I don't know. We'll have to find. We'll have to learn more once the event comes out. But that is the new stuff. Let's see if there's. Oh.
And mortification.
Glorification of the fit, mortification of the unfit, nth dimensional. You, sir, are glorified. Thank you for that raid. Exclamation point plunder for your chance to win. We've got the drawing in about 15 minutes. So in addition to that, let's see. It looks like this is just cleaning stuff up. Oh, hold on. Steph65, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole, Steve Online. But I'm going to mute that so as to not make like a ton of noise. I don't do my shtick during the main shows. We have the covert mobile sinosaural beacon. Effects being put onto stuff, including, yeah, so here's the reenactment drones. See if there's any strings. They're all just for the stuff that we've already seen. Yep, these are all just Liberation Day stuff. Like, and then new files. Oh, the corporation's getting new, or the different tribes are getting their own cleaned up logos, which is nice. And then, oh yeah, this is probably more just the lighting effect changes that is trigger. This happens a lot, where a lighting effect change, or like the shader renderer, will kick in updates to, like, this is the same model. It's just re-rendering it with the new shaders and then taking a picture of it and then putting it in as the new icon. This happens a lot. All right, and then I think that may cover a lot of the big stuff that I wanted to go over today. Let me see. Let me also check on Discord or chat to see how things are going over here. People joining into the raffle, that's good. So what to do this weekend? Like, honestly, guys, I gotta say, this weekend, like, get out and go outside, man. Like, moral of the story is the PCU is going down for a reason, and the reason is it's nice, and we've all been cooped up, and there is stuff happen. Like, next weekend is 4th of July, and then comes the Liberation Day games. There's the war is in a lull, although I've seen some interesting. Apparently, Pappy's been making some interesting plays over the last day or two. So who knows? Maybe it'll kick off again this weekend. Now that I've said that it's not doing anything. But there's also the Abyssal Proving Conduit is not going on right now. I think the next one's going to be the 2v2 destroyers, but that's not until next week. So everything's really in preparation phase right now. Once again. So I guess the biggest thing is that if you have ever been interested in a T3 cruiser now, but have been too shy to train it because you don't like the skill loss, that should be probably what you consider doing right about now, because of those T3 cruiser changes. The T3 cruisers are no longer going to have skill losses soon. So if you get ready for that, then good to go. Otherwise, yep, there was a Blops patch. We talked about that on Wednesday in particular. But that's one of those things that, like, if you're ready to deal with that, Is there going to be Bombers Bar celebration of the Blops patch this weekend or anything? There was something else. Hold on, let me double check. I think I asked earlier and somebody gave me a tip. Yeah, Gray Bill is doing Oshvin Paradise Round 2. So 40 people. So basically, everybody's just getting together in Poshvin on June 26th, so Saturday at 1900 Eve time. If you're interested, there is a Discord to go to, or I guess you can just go to Poshvin and find it. Poshvin is a really great place for events like that to happen because, you know, you're not going to get dropped on by capitals, or if you do, it's pretty crazy. Sorry, let me show that real quick. Yeah, you could Black Ops blockade runners. Eve is also yes, all of the so on Tuesday I try to cover what is changing in Eve, and on Friday I try to cover more what is there to do in Eve. So a lot of that stuff, the new lighting effects, the all that kind of stuff was stuff that we went over at length on the Wednesday show. Also, oh yeah, that reminds me. I do want to give you guys an update on the Warzone. The Warzone is still pretty lively. Let's... There it is. I need more desk space so I can have more monitors. Anyway, so the Warzone, as you can see, is continuing to look pretty blue. But if we zoom in, what we're seeing is that their progress has pretty much stymied. They aren't making any progress in Devon, and we're taking back systems. We've seen less and less of the Plex spotting. Obviously, probably because there's less and less systems for them to come to. So I feel like we're probably going to be able to hold from here and then begin to push back. Let's look at actually on the fly. Go to Zkill. Or no, let's go to Dotland. Just in case, because I want to see. So Dotland has shown, yeah, Hadley's is currently in the top 5. Hadley's, Fleet, Devon, Stooge, sorry, Naga. One of those 4 or multiple of those 4 have been in the most dangerous low-sec systems in Eve for the last several weeks, for the last 2 weeks at least. It's where, and you know, that's why I'm getting so many kills myself. So faction warfare is a great way to get ISK and fight at the same time. Ironically, if you join this state right now, you'll get a lot more LP because I think that they just spiked up. We can check real quick. But if I go to Zkill, and we go to... Can I look up low-sec systems? I don't even think I can. My corp, Aderon Robotics, you can see that we've gotten 670 kills in the last 7 days, including a whole bunch of, you know, battleships and stuff. So it's not just frigates. There's tons of fighting going on. I know scarcity is like, whatever, but like, for those who seek it, there is things to do. And, you know, people actually care on both sides of this fight about whether or not we take or hold these systems right now. Marine Division really seems to be adamant. They dropped the freaking Rev to take Devon. That shows a certain amount of, you know, commitment to the cause that you don't normally see from people that are just duplexing for ISK. So it's a really exciting time to be in faction warfare, to be honest. I'm not sure if it's quite golden age material yet, but we are almost there. There you go. Did the Galente militia numbers die down? Yeah, so as basically the war zone began to stagnate, and especially after the Caldari gave up after their final push about 2 years ago, the Galente militia largely left the war zone one stage at a time, to the point where the last stage was GMVA joined Mimitar militia a couple months back and moved out of the war zone. So now, I mean, if you look about it, Aderon Robotics isn't that big. If you think about it, we have 147 people. And if you look at the Galente Federation, right now, Aderon Robotics is pulling in more kills than the FDU is. So, yeah, the numbers are down. Hold on. Let me check something real quick. There was a website. Once upon a time. Is now 404'd. Damn it. That's sad. All right, well. And that one's down too. Too bad. We used to have tools that track that a lot better, so I'd be able to see where they're at. But we can see in game. Is it chat? In game we can see. Don't judge my stats. I've been not paying as much attention the last couple of days because I've been doing other things. No. But you can see the militia has, where's the population? Pilots. So Galente militia has just under 40,000 pilots, and the Caldari militia has just under 42,000 pilots. So, but this has always been true. The Galente's always had less people than the Caldari. That's kind of all's right with the world. The Galente RP group joining. Oh, I heard about this. What happened? Like I've heard like I heard early reports, but I haven't heard anything like concrete. You can break the news to me, Cedar. We got 2 minutes left in the before we do the giveaway. By the way, and then I don't have anything else. Might just wrap things up and head out and call it get into my weekend. I may be streaming some more this weekend. I'm not sure. I honestly have no idea what my plan is. I got to figure out because I need to produce that video, and I need to. There's so much for me to do at this point right now, so I have no idea what I'm going to actually end up doing this weekend. No promises, but I do have some really cool ideas about how I want to structure the show more going forward. Like for instance, the Friday show is going to be at this time each Friday. I want to try it to be that way, or roughly. I might change it from there, but I'll have like a scheduled time, and then have an earlier Tuesday show, so closer to like 2 or 3 hours before this show started on Wednesday. Sorry. So, and then from there start to like flesh out a little bit more and figure out what this show is going to be. So that's just me rambling for a couple of minutes as we were wrapping up the giveaway. Do you know which group just joined? Which group joined? Just like open up local and see. There's Velour Chords. Hey, there's Fed Up. I don't see anybody here right now. All right. 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds. Last second, last chance, exclamation point plunder for your chance to win a Scope Syndication Megathron skin. Pull that up. Okay. Here it is in all of its glory. It looks even better with the new lighting on Singularity. That's coming on to Tranquility probably next Tuesday. Who knows? All right. All right, all right, all right, all right. Here we go. It's closed up. We are going to pull in. Oh, two more people just entered. Hold on. I'll reopen it just for a second. Zoom entries. Old Mr. Boston, Northeast, Northwest, exclamation point plunder. Right now, when you guys are done, I'm going to close it. Walking dude sneaking in. That's fine. Let me check. Yeah, Nadir Security. There it is. Oh! Oh no! Glorification of the fit, mortification of the unfit. Miss Marisha, you are glorified. Oh no. All right, guys. We gotta change what we're literally just reopened the giveaway for the Scope Syndication skin to get the two last people in, and then you guys showed up before I could close it again. So, exclamation point plunder for your chance to win. And thanks to Miss Marisha's perfect timing, I will be giving away 2 Scope Syndication skins. To make up for the additional participants in the raffle. How was your stream, my friend? I hope it was good. It is a really good skin for a really good ship. How much longer for your contest, by the way? We were talking about things to do this weekend, Miss Marisha. Do you know of anything that there is to do this weekend? We'll do like 1 more minute. Like right now, everybody, exclamation point plunder for your chance to win if you just joined. The cat ganking you? You should talk to Hateless. All right. Let's see. I don't see any more people coming in. So we're going to call this good and close it again. Oh. Look at the devil. Oh, those are people following. I appreciate all those people too. I generally don't do shtick, but all of those followers, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole with Steve Online. And while we're in the wrap-up phase, I will also say, who was it? Didn't I get a sub earlier? Walking Dude 69 coming in with his 13 months. My dude, good to see you. Yeah, not this weekend. That's what I was saying. Like, this weekend is like, guys, go outside, man. Like, it's okay. Eve will be here when you get back. It can be nice outside, too. There's a lot of things coming up. It's going to be busy again. It's been really busy. It's going to be really busy. There are things to do if you're interested. There's lots of things going on. But, I will say this. If you are interested in trying out new things, you can always use a buddy code, like my buddy code. I think, and in fact, I think I've updated my buddy code, at least some of them, because what I noticed was I actually have 38 people have used my buddy code and activated so far on Asherothi. I switched over to my other account because like I had a year plus of subscriptions built up from people doing that, and I was like, whatever, cool, I'll just get some from my other account too. And then I just noticed that I think I'm 2 away from getting the Marshal, so that's got to happen. But that's more my thing. I switched back my my link to go to Ash instead of to Invictus. What is this outside that you speak of? I tried it out during Pokemon Go. During the Pokemon Go craze, I tried it out. It's pretty good. They say it's free to play, but there's a lot of microtransactions. And permadeath, it's really it's hit or miss. Anyway, Marshall Yeet Fleet. I would love that. Okay. Enough is enough. Closing the entries. We have 52 people. 2 of them are about to become winners. When I call you, you have roughly 20 seconds minus stream delay. So go ahead and hit refresh now if you're concerned that you have a stream delay. In order for you to X up, and then once you do, then you win it, and you get the code. Pulling in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Miso2509, you are the first winner. X up for your prize. The good news is that you don't even need to give me your in-game name. There it is. Oh, there it is. He also gave you the in-game name, but I'm going to give you a code. So as soon as I'm done with the raid, you should be getting a DM from me in Twitch, like a Twitch private message with the code. So we'll touch base, and then you'll get it. Okay? Awesome. Polling number 2 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Wait. Didn't do it? Avocado? There we go. Advocado. There it is. He says, wait. What? Why wait? Do you not want it? He's confused. What do you mean? What's confusing, man? I pulled 2 winners. Again, so because we had a raid, I decided to do 2 skins. So you get one and Miso got one. Yeah, exactly. 2 winners. 2 winners. The people watching this, I might actually cut this out of the YouTube. I might leave it in the YouTube. I don't know. People in the YouTube are like, Ash is arguing with himself because they can't see chat, but it's fine. No, just like the other guy, Miso and Advocado, I will be private messaging you on Twitch as soon as I raid. Don't be sorry, man. Be happy, dude. Congratulations. You get it. All right. Whew. Oh, no. You didn't mess up my video. It's perfectly fine. Don't even worry about it. That's why I save this stuff to the end, because the YouTube people have all. If the YouTubers are watching this, if the people on YouTube are still watching this, then I'm pretty sure that they're totally cool with me just kind of talking to myself while looking at chat. Or they'll give me feedback and I'll make sure to add chat in the future. That's how this works. Oh man. Any I do have a little bit more time, but that is, I mean, like today was kind of a shorter day because there's not a lot to necessarily cover besides just drama or rehashing the old stuff. But in the event that there is stuff that people wanted me to cover or talk about, any questions that people had, things that I might have forgotten. Hello from YouTube, please add chat. Roger. So the reason why the chat wasn't here was because this layout that you're seeing right here was the layout that I used for my CSM interviews. And I didn't want to bring the chat in for that. And then I forgot to bring it in until just talking about it right now. So that's the reality of it. I mean, it's live every day. So when I do them, I just like to roll with the punches and help you guys, or let you guys see, you know, not hide the blemishes, as it were. Let me think if there's anything else I want to cover. I did go. Oh, hey, I do have the Aderon advertisement that I also wanted to close up with. But before I do, since Federation Day is now wrapped up, I wanted to play one more time the new trailer that was put out by CCP for Federation Day. And then I'll play the Aderon Robotics trailer. And then I think we just wrap it up and head out. I'm not used to like having shorter streams. Hey, Walking Dude gifting a tier 1 sub. Thank you for that. It went to OG McFadden, who gets all of the corporations involved in the current pre-orders crisis as emotes, and the new 07 emote that I made, the Pod 07. And it supports the show. I really appreciate it. And so does everybody else who enjoys what I make. All right, so this is CCP's official video about the Federation. The person speaking in this video is Celis Agard, the new president of the Federation as of last year. I could, yeah, I could just go back to, I could stream some plexing if we want to do that. All right, here we go.
Hundreds of worlds, billions of people. Our strength is our diversity. Our tolerance lends us unity. But cross us, and you will swiftly find the steel beneath the velvet. Above all, know this, my fellow citizens. Our Federation is the light of liberty, shining in the darkness.
So T Shadow asks, says, T Shadow asks, says that he's watched my stream on Federation Day. It was fun. Am I as knowledgeable when it comes to other factions in the game? Yeah, the answer to that is sorta. My actual focus on the lore is more on the Precursor Crisis, so Drifters, Trig, etc. Empire history stuff is, in particular, the Mimitar is pretty obtuse to me still. I have been in Galente faction warfare for a few years, and Galente is pretty straightforward when it comes to its kind of history and politics compared to, you know, the state or the Federation. And the MR just get a lot of attention and a lot of, focus and events and stuff with things like the MR Championship. So, but yeah, I like to say that my goal is to bring Eve into context for my fellow Empyreans, and as part of that is the story. Speaking of the story, what's the story with this thing not loading right? All right, so let's go ahead and play so this is, again, my offering to the Eve, the Gallente Federation propaganda contest. The lore, yeah, that's true. The lore videos that I made with Yintan are pretty good. We go over all 4 of the empires, although I will say that those videos and making those videos are what showed me that I needed to start taking the empire lore way more seriously. So I was significantly weaker in the lore then than I was comfortable with, especially, again, unlike the Mimitar. Yeah. Law and justice is denied. Where freedom, law, and justice is denied, war is inevitable. Nearly a millennium and a half ago, the Gorun Empire collapsed, bringing chaos to the planet of Gallente Prime. However, from this struggle came the birth of freedom to the New Eden cluster. It was this precious seed of freedom that first made contact with their younger sisters on their neighboring planet of Caldari. The planet of Caldari Prime was cold, and only recently habitable thanks to the completion of an ancient terraforming project. But with the aid of the Gallente people, they were able to survive and thrive, and together they took to the stars, and together they built the first Stargate from their mutual cradle of Luminaire. Soon after came contact with the Intaki and the Manar, and so many others. So many lost and wayward children barely surviving on their own. But together, freedom grew. But the Caldari refused to contribute to the shared burden that freedom brings to those who wish to maintain it. The gall of the corporate overlords have driven their people to deception, rebellion, and terrorism. Where freedom, law, and justice is denied, war is inevitable. On February 21st, YC-111, Marcel Devereaux, AI genius and cluster-renowned engineer of Capsuleer Tools, was born for the second time. His dream of a robotics and technology manufacturing powerhouse was soon realized in Aderon Robotics, named after his home constellation. But peace was not for Aderon Robotics, not so long as freedom is in peril. Marcel was a fierce loyalist to the Gallente people, and in YC-114, when the Militia War Powers Act of YC-110 was restructured, the once industrial powerhouse of Aderon Robotics transformed itself into the defenders of the innocent and killers of those who would persecute them. When the Northern Militia deemed Hades too hard to hold, Ader held. When the Caldari Uprising of YC-118 caused the majority of the Gallente powers to give up their territory, Ader refused to give up the South, and from their base in Fliet, the South held. Inspired by Aderon's stalwart defense, Mecha Enterprises' fleet joined up and Federation Uprising was born. From Intaki to Valor, the South was free, thanks to FedUp and Aderon Robotics. Only after Ader was asked by FedUp to leave the war zone was the Caldari allowed to take Fliet, if only for a moment. Enraged by this, Aderon left FedUp and rejoined the war zone, retook Fliet, and again it stands as a bastion of freedom in an otherwise conflicted war zone. Now the Gallente militia is in shambles. Valor Accords, previously seen as the last bastion of Gallente support in the war zone, has moved to Mimitar militia, abandoning the Caldari and Gallente war zone. The fighting is hard. Organized pirate lords roam the area, and new threats rise within the state. And now an army of Amarian drones have descended upon our territories, threatening everywhere not being actively patrolled, and bringing the threat to our very doorsteps. But we will hold. Aderon Robotics needs you. The Federation needs you. Freedom and democracy itself needs you to join us in continuing our journey. When they said it couldn't be done, we did. When they said it wasn't worth it, we proved them wrong. Defend freedom. Defend democracy. Join the growing legacy of Aderon Robotics. There you go. So to that is oh hey. What's up, Scottish Dex? Thanks for coming in. Let's this again. All right. So yeah, that is my entry to the propaganda contest and my hope to get one of them neat new jackets for Ash and maybe for one other person, hopefully. So I was really happy to, or like, with everything going on in the war zone, I needed to do some more recruitment for Aderon anyways, and this just was a really good time for it. So I will say the update to that is today Marcel Devereaux, the guy who's in the story, finally got to watch the video, and he said he really liked it, so that made me happy. And then also Juliana Soder, the head of Valora Chords. I talked to a couple of the guys that I knew in Valora Chords as I was making this video to be like, hey, just as a heads up, I'm saying this, because like we're still friends and stuff. So then Jules just sent me a message today with the YouTube video and like LOL. So I assume that means that we're still in good graces, but it is what it is. I look forward to Valora Accords returning to the war zone and helping us purge them from the north as well as the south. All right. In addition to that, I actually want to wrap up. I want to do one more thing or another thing. I keep on saying one more. I want to do another thing. I want to do a poll before I leave. So here's the thing. I've been pretty public most of the time that I'm not a big fan of marbles, right? As a giveaway mechanic. I don't want it on my show. People could do it. It's fine. But like, I think it like it's a distraction from Eve, if that's what you're there to stream. But Stream Raiders is a little bit different. Stream Raiders isn't designed around a raffle. It's a thing that we're doing together, and it like makes this nice 30-minute rhythm. I've ended up liking it, and I've actually had a lot of people come up to me, start to ask me to do Stream Raiders. So I'm going to do a poll right now to see whether or not I should prioritize setting that up this weekend. I might be doing a poll right now. Hold on. I'll be doing a poll as soon as I can make this work. We're just going to go new poll. Stream Raiders. Yes. No. Maybe. Later. You can do additional votes with bits, additional votes with loyalty points. We'll do a duration of 2 minutes. Get your votes in. While you do that, I want to give an update. So I did the Who is Zoria Triglav video. Finished the script, or did a pass of the script. The thing is that I've already gotten a pretty good audio version of it already. But some of the data is like old now, because now that Poshfin's happened, like there's a couple of pieces that are need to be reframed. And besides, I want to record more where it's like me talking to a camera is spliced in with images and kind of continue to advance my production quality, as it were. But let me see real quick, because I think I actually might be able to show you my original, or at least play the audio of the original Zoria Triglav video. Because I know that people are just interested in the answer and not interested in me finishing all of the polish. So in that event, let me see if I can find you an answer. Yeah, there we go. Actually, hell, this work in progress might even be something I want to go back to instead of what I tried to do the other day. But like I said, I still need to, there's definitely some things I need to update thanks to what has changed. But I'm also going to make it into 2 pieces. So this is going to cover basically everything prior to Poshfin. The first 3 videos, more or less, what it covered. I've listened to that goddamn song so many times now for that video that like the bagpipes is just like echoing in my stop. Like it's like the best tendonitis I've ever heard of. Anyway. Oh, man. Greetings, fellow Empyreans. It is Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and today we embark to begin to answer the question that I am most frequently asked. I feel it's important to note here that this video was actually recorded before my Who Are the Drifters video, and therefore there is some redundant data, because a lot of the very beginning of the Who Are the Drifter video actually came from this. Carry on. Asked, who is Zoria Triglav? The Triglavian Collective are one of the latest factions introduced in EVE Online. Originating from the Abyss, this largely mysterious collective has been gaining power and prominence in New Eden in the last 2 years, a fact punctuated by the fall of Niarja from Concord Control earlier last month. However impactful the Trig are, their nature and drives are widely unknown and not understood. Many Capsuleers have mostly ignored the Triglavians until recently, and some have even resorted to seeding bad information and speculation. While it may seem that the Triglavians are a relatively new phenomena, they are simply a small piece of a story that has been unfolding since around 2006, a story I've come to call the Precursor Crisis. The lore of EVE Online is long, complicated, and mired in unreliable narrators, unresolved threads, and is overall difficult to understand as it plays out in real time, and thus the pieces of the story often don't stand out as something special until it is seen as a whole. The story of EVE is both emergent and environmental. It is spread across in-game events and sites, item descriptions, chronicles, and world news events, and more. I will be making a whole video about the lore of EVE and how we know what we know, but suffice it to say that there will be a lot of ground to cover, and there will be some speculation. I will always try to be clear about what we know and why, and what is merely my stitching together of the pieces. But I am sure that there will be those who contest even some of the most basic facts. With all that out of the way, let's meet Zoria Triglav. Zoria is the most well-known Triglavian to us Empyreans. The Triglavian Collective have hacked the billboard systems of New Eden in order to broadcast messages from Zoria. Additionally, the top-grade Triglavian forces in invasion systems are known as Zorias, as the Galentes are known as Presidential, and Amarians are known as Exalted. However, these videos are not our only source of information about Zoria. We also have data streams, recovered Triglavian technology, and intercepted messages via Semiosis console to expand our understanding of the Triglavian people, and Zoria functions as a direct lens into their deeper society. Zoria holds the title of Detached Executive Troika for the Sublimation of Poshlost Flow, and the vast majority of the communications that we have are either involving Zoria or about them. They report to a convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle, who together represent the will of the 3 Triglavian clades of Svarog, Perun, and Velez. All of this and more can be gathered by understanding her message to us. The first "We Are Zoria Triglav" message, which was sent just prior to Invasions Chapter 1, does a very good job of summarizing the Triglavians' position. One problem, though, is that the Triglavians use a very cryptic and often religified and Slavic language to communicate their messages. So let's break it down and see what we can learn.
We are Zoria Triglav.
We speak for the
congregation of Triglav outside the struggle.
Every formal communication from Zoria begins and ends the same way. They are declaring who they are and from what authority they speak. A few things can already be noted. Zoria uses the pronoun we to describe themselves, and when speaking, seem to have 3 voices mingled together, that of a male, female, and a robot. It is unclear if this is to mean that the Triglavians have multiple consciousnesses or infomorphs within a single body, or if they're doing this as some kind of effect to show solidarity. Zoria's physical form is almost always depicted as a female, and so this has led many to believe that the voices are either representing the 3 clades, or the 3 subtypes of Triglavians, the Narodnia, the Koshoi, and the Nafka. Unfortunately, this is another deep and uncertain topic, so we're going to leave this one here for later. On the subject of the convocation of Triglav outside of the struggle, the Triglavians live in a state of constant conflict. Their alleged home in the Abyss is resource-starved, and they've been trapped there for some time. Each clade and subclade is in competition with each other in something they call the proving. However, they also seem to recognize a shared destiny, and so have a grouping or convocation that functions to guide this collective and stand apart from the day-to-day internal squabbles. This convocation stands outside the struggle.
We are an emanation of the clades.
We are an emanation of the clades of Perun, Velis, and Svarog.
Now a few words on Slavic mythology and the role of earthly mythos in EVE Online. The universe of EVE takes place 21,338 years in the future, although they have a new calendar called YC for Yule Conference, an event that happened 122 years ago, which established, among other things, the New Eden Standard Time. This is not to be confused with the Yulai Convention, which was where the Yulai Accords were drafted, bringing a tense peace to New Eden and establishing Concord. That is a different YC. After the Eve Gate collapsed nearly 13,000 years ago, most of the knowledge of space and old Earth was lost. This time is known as the Dark Ages. However, each of the surviving empires from the Dark Ages maintain traditions of the old ways, albeit warped and their original meanings lost. For the most part, this results in the use of ancient animals and mythos in the naming of ships and equipment, and you can explore the empire's past via the names they cling on to in the modern day. For example, the ancient Jove have a tendency to use Greek naming, and thus we get the SOCT ships of the Gnosis and the Praxis, as well as the drifter names of Apollo, Artemis, and Charybdis, Scylla, and more. The use of these cultural touchstones hint to a relationship between the drifters, sleepers, and Jovian. The Triglavians, by contrast, use Slavic mythology within their culture, and this sets them apart from the other races. But this also means that to understand the nature of the Triglavians, we may also need to understand the mythos in which these naming is coming from. Zoria is the name of three sisters that represent the morning, evening, and midnight stars. This threefold manifestation is reflected in the threefold nature of the Zoria we know. Additionally, the deity Triglav is a three-headed god who rules over the heavens, earth, and the underworld. And wouldn't you know it, the three deities of Triglav are, you guessed it, Svarog, Perun, and Velez. So here we have an agent of the convocation of Triglav, who is itself a name given to the three sisters who serve a three-headed god, whose name has been brought forward as the names of the three major clades of the Triglavian people. Zoria claims to come from or emanate from all three of these clades, and thus has the surname Triglav.
Hear the words of our prayer.
Hear the words of our prayer,
Heed them.
and heed them.
Much like the Triglavians use religious naming to function symbolically within their culture, they also use religious phrasing to represent what would likely be decidedly non-mystical things. In this case, the Triglavians have used the word prayer many times in their communications, and generally this represents some form of formal messaging between parties, and often with a request as part of it.
The ancient domains beyond.
The ancient domains beyond the floor of Viraj were lost to us.
The ancient domains is known space, as opposed to whatever hellscape they found themselves in. This line suggests that the Triglavians have lost the means to return to our territories. Within the data streams, we have evidence that the Triglavians were at least aware of and likely worked with the Second Jovian Empire, which, according to Jovian records, collapsed about 2,000 years ago. I say according to Jovian records, because the fall of the Second Jovian Empire remains the most mysterious time in New Eden's history, known only as the Shrouded Days. Viraj means heaven in the Slavic tradition, and like the Jovians, the Triglavians seem obsessed with the sacred nature of their mission. While we once believed that the flow of Viraj may mean the abyss itself, the fact that the F in the flow is not capitalized when written seems to suggest that this is not a proper noun. The Triglavians also speak of the Pashlost, or corrupt or vile flow. This shows us that the flow in this case represents a path, a shared destiny, and shared goals. Likely, this flow of Viraj is what keeps the convocation together, a unified understanding of shared purpose. We will be discussing the flow of Viraj and the Pashlost flow quite a bit in the future.
Intruders from the ancient domains have entered the flows.
This line is one of the reasons why we once suspected that the flow is the abyss itself. It has long since been speculated that the flow is the flow between three conduits of the abyss. However, they have another name for these sites, namely conduit loop constructs. With that in mind, it would seem that they are saying that the intruders from our world have entered into their existence, their shared experience, or flow.
To corrupt the flow.
Intruders seek to corrupt the flow of Viraj and the domain of Bujan.
Besides us, there are records of three other groups who have entered into the abyss and encountered the Triglavians. Each of them have 6 data streams about them that help us understand the Triglavian experience and opinions about them. We also get their name for each of their forces. The 4 groups, including us, are as follows. The AEA, Ancient Enemy Azdaja, Drifter and Sleeper Forces. The DAV, Deviant Automata Villa, Rogue Drones. HFN, Hive-Linked Foreign Narodnia, Sanchez Nation. And AFN, Augmented Foreign Narodnia, Empyreans, Capsuleers. Their data streams describe their largely unfriendly encounters with each of these forces. However, the one that does the actual corrupting is Sancha. In other words, we can likely blame all of this invasion madness on Kuvakai himself, but more on that later.
The ancient enemy Azdaja must be extirpated.
Deviant Automata must conform or be extirpated.
Corrupted Narodnia must be extirpated.
Must be extirpated.
Human augmented Narodnia must prove the direction of their flow.
From here, the overall relationship with the Triglavians to each of these 4 factions is made clear. The term extirpate means to root out and destroy completely. Both the Sanchez and Drifters are beyond redemption. However, the Rogue Drones and Empyrean Capsuleers are a bit more nuanced. Rogue Drones in particular are allowed to survive only if they subjugate themselves.
Narodnia
Moving with the flow of Mirage may be fit to enter.
Narodnia without fitness will be expelled from the flow.
Expelled from the flow.
This describes their 2-step process for analyzing those of us Capsuleers that they have encountered. Those who move with the flow of Virage, as in align with their goals and path, may or may not be fit to enter the domain of Beyond. Those who are within the flow of Virage, but are unfit, will be expelled from the flow.
The congregation of Triglav outside the struggle invoke
Cladistic Druid.
Cladistics and clades mean 2 different organisms with the same common ancestor, which means that they are competing like people against one another in a proving, a cladistic proving. This test between like biological types have been invoked. The proving conduits, or PvP sites within the Abyss, are shown in the video at the time that they say this.
Glorification for the fit and mortification for the
Unfold in the flow.
The fit will be glorified. The unfit will be mortified.
Triglav outside the struggle will be glorified by you.
glorified.
Nothing can halt the flow of Virage.
Flow of Virage.
We speak for the congregation of Triglav outside the struggle.
We are Zoria Triglav.
We are sorry at Triglav.
The ending of the video is characteristically triumphant. And finally, the same phrasing as the opening, but is reversed. There you go. There goes that one. So what do you guys think? That is more or less this. There's certain changes to the script that I've made in the re-recording or whatever, but that is more or less the information I have there. I go over the other 2 videos that they've released since then, or since during chapter midway, or when the World Arc got released during chapter 1, and then at the beginning of chapter 2, we got 2 other videos. I break those down, but it's way faster than that first one. And then the idea would be the second video would explore, the actual goals and objectives of the Triglavian collective, Oshvin, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, obviously there's some sound level issues in that one. Yeah, so the phrase that they use is posh lost undoubted and posh lost irredeemable. They usually refer to the road drone. They use those phrases, especially when arguing about the road drones. But Sancha is super not okay with the Triglavians. They are not happy with Sancha at all. And that is also like, so I want to go into in a video about each, in particular, the Sancha story and the Rogue Drone stories are, I think, worth breaking out and analyzing in their own right. The Drifter one is, well, actually, the Drifter story is pretty good too. Maybe I should do one where it goes over each of those stories, because each of the data streams tell a story, and they do use other items to fill in the gaps of those stories. But I've basically written out, or I've laid out the Rogue Drone one. The Sancha one is by far the most speculative. I'll say that. Leshaks are really good. I don't know what you do normally, Advocado. Well, they don't like the fact that Sancha broke in and started corrupting people. And there's a pretty decent chance that there's a fair chunk of Svarog clade that is corrupted to this day. So, yeah, the Sancha are a pretty big threat to the Triglavians. Bill's trailer playtime. Sure, why not? We'll put on the Citadel's trailer. Sure. Why? No, it's fine. I like the trailer.
We all have dreams of greatness. At Upwell Consortium, we have made this dream a reality. The Citadel. Your city in the heavens. A testament to the ingenuity and spirit of humankind. Unlock your true potential and build the life we know you deserve. Together, we can and will make it.
Alright, we're coming in close range. Spread scrams and we land. We need to keep them from MJDing.
Siege wing, hold position. Interdictors, get some bubbles in the middle. Bombs, 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 overheat hunters, overheat everything. Oh yeah!
Alright, carriers are putting fighters out. Frigates, short range and take them out.
Come on, get in close, get in close.
Dreadnoughts, you are siege green. Citadel, primary is E11 and Apostle. Apostle is primary.
Target's destroyed. New primary is ROB. Get those tools on it! Come on! Blow that shit up!
Actually, I'm gonna actually you Anasir real quick. The forbidden dominance arrangement is the drifter. Is their problem with the drifters? The vigilant Tyrannos is seen as being arranged in a forbidden dominance arrangement. It is Sancha's hive linking that causes them to not like Sancha in the beginning, and then once Sancha started corrupting the Narodnia and then eventually the multi-body tracking pylon, that caused the Triglavians to lose their goddamn mind. Shrek88, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole with Steve Online. Oh yeah, so there's like 7 minutes. That brings us to the top of the hour. That feels pretty good. Wrap things up at the top of the hour. Yeah, any final questions, comments, concerns, things to talk about? It is the end of the week. Time to get things in. I will be out and about all weekend in the war zone, killing dudes. you want to come see me, you can always join Aderon or come fight Aderon. Actually, Anasir, the really big clue is in the latest post from Dutch Gunner's request, like the negotiation with Dutch Gunner trying to go into Poshfin that was shut down by that new lore actor. He specifically says we don't or like that it is groups that are convorting with forbidden dominance arrangement or experimenting with hive linking, which are the two things. So he specifies those two different groups and really pulls out that forbidden dominance arrangement in connection with the drifters. I ain't in a Newt Tristan right now. It'd be pretty funny if somebody showed up in a ship that was designed to fight the Newt. The nice thing about this is I'm also going to get my skilling spree. So since this is going to be really late in the show, I'm going to say out loud what I think is happening with to the new player experience is I believe that CCP is going to be moving the new player experience to Uli and making a Eve Academy, like a Capsuleer Academy run by Concord in Uli, in which you learn how to be a Capsuleer and then you're sent out to your various constituent empires. I don't know if that's exactly right, but I know that that was along the lines of what they were thinking around with a couple years ago. And the connection between Minmatar and Concord makes me think about that and a lot of the other improvements when it comes to the new player experience, both what they have improved and what they haven't improved. Like, for instance, there has been, they've even admitted recently that they, like, the career agents are not that great. They haven't revised them, and they keep revising the other stuff. Leads me to believe that they, hopefully, that means that they're fixing to replace them pretty much completely. But we'll see. I get the feeling that there's a lot of this immersive tech, like the animated avatars and stuff, that has been they've been more or less waiting on, along with other things, before they're able to show off some of this stuff. There won't be a second super crashing. The station being crashed into was not Uli. That was Ionersta? I can't remember where the station itself was. That was a peace treaty between the Galente and Caldari, in which the broker disguised as Noir, Alexander Noir, crashed into the station, killing the head of Ishikone in an attempt to stop him from releasing the Vitok antidote known as Inserum. I spoiled everything. That's what you get for talking shit. What wrecked the station in Uli was the Elder Fleet came through Sino Beacon and the Dread started shooting. If the biplex pop-up remains, the new player experience will be horrible anyways. So as I talked about in the previous conversation, and I discussed a little bit on the Reddit forums too, the biggest, and I have talked to CCP at length about this as well, the real issue with the pop-up isn't the fact that it's happening at like a pop-up at the moment of death. That's actually honestly good. The problem is that it's now telling them to fix their problem with Plex. Plex can be part of the deal, and I understand that CCP wants to put a deal as purchasing of it, but let's arrange it a different way. So it tells you that you've died and recommends that you go to the Eve Academy website to get more information. And then on the Eve Academy website, There's all kinds of information about what to do, who to get up with, and all that stuff. And at the top of the Eve Academy website, there's a link at the top that allows people to, for $5, they get 100 plex, and they get 1,000,000 SP. Now wait. This offer is only eligible on accounts that have a combined SP total across all characters on that account of less than 1,000,000 SP. So what does this do? One, it makes it so that you now have a Plex deal that you can give to new players that feels really good and helps them understand how they can get back into the game better than before. And you have a fix for the fact that people don't use a buddy code and then can't get that 1,000,000 SP. So that now, if somebody uses a buddy code and therefore they have a buddy, they never see the pop-up, they never get the offer, and they're never eligible for it. Only players that do not use a buddy code and have been into the game for less than a month, because that's how long it takes to make the 600,000 ISK or SP it takes to get past 1,000,000 SP. Those people, if you die before you hit 1,000,000 SP, then you get this special pop-up that brings you to the newbie stuff, and you're offered the newbie offering. Hell, even give the Eve Academy website link to everyone the first time that they die for whatever after a certain time, and only offer the recovery pack to people under 1,000,000 SP. But I thought about this and I was like, what can we give these people that makes it feel valuable to pay the $5 right now? And I realized that these guys, if they're this lost, they also didn't use a buddy code. So there you go. That's my current thoughts on the matter. The issue here is that, like, the idea of needing to be there and interact with them and engage with the player during their first death is a good one. The idea of microtransactions as a part of the game isn't a bad one, and having a good pack that teaches them, like, here's the thing. This doesn't go to alphas, or sorry, it doesn't go to omegas. It only goes to alphas, which means, people who are, these are people that have not actually invested ISK into the game or money into the game yet. So they are a free-to-play player, and now they have died. And CCP is offering them an easy way to recover from whatever mistake they just made and keep going, but not without at least the minimum amount of buy-in, $5. That sense, I like it. I like it. But as with a lot of things when it comes to CCP, the high-level goal makes sense. The flaw is in the execution. Wasting money when you die. So you got to understand that there's a lot of people that do see this game, especially free-to-play players that see. But even before that, there's a lot of people that see the game as, you insert your quarter, you get your prize, right? And so to a new player, like, let's say you've been in this game for a couple of weeks, you've managed to build up to your first cruiser, and then you go into a mission that's too hard for you. You sold all of your stuff to build this cruiser, to get this cruiser or this battle cruiser, and then it dies. That was everything. You have to start over. Like, that's the point. Like, a lot of these losses, I would assume that the vast majority of this pop-up is not happening when people die by PvP. This is when people are dying in missions or in the Abyss for the first time in their very early gameplay. And so, yeah, in that sense, what do you do? Like, you have to recover from that loss, and CCP isn't, like, the first one's free doesn't make sense. So having a recovery package for that first loss to keep it simple and be like, here's something that you can get money with in order to get back into it, I think is pretty okay. I what I didn't like was the amount of people who knowingly or unknowingly seemed to be pumping the idea that this was actually recovering the ship itself. And I think that that was one of the biggest flaws, is that it kind of gave that implication. So I honestly don't feel like it's a bad thing, because it's bad to try to give somebody, sell somebody Plex when they lose, because that's when people die, they buy Plex to go replace the loss. This is as old as Plex. The problem here is the fact that a new player that doesn't understand what they're doing is being told that this is vengeance and this is back and stronger, when really it's just a way to get the ISK. Which goes back to the confusion that I saw the other, a couple weeks ago with the person on the stream who just lost his Punisher, and he got his payout from he didn't see the payout come from the insurance. So he's like, okay, well, how do I get my Punisher back? I'm like, you don't. It's dead. You go get a new one. Okay, well, where is it? Well, you buy new ones in Jita. He goes, okay, so I can get it in Jita? Yes. He goes to Jita. Okay, well, where's my Punisher? Well, you have to buy one. I don't want to buy one. I want the one that I had from my insurance. I want the insurance one back. How do I redeem that? No, the insurance already paid you. Insurance pays you ISK. It's gone. It's totally gone. Like, it took him a while, and it wasn't just that he was dumb, and I wasn't a bad person explaining, but the idea that insurance didn't just give back the ship was something that he had to figure out. And part of that is because of the fact that Echoes is literally that way now. And so some players are going to come with that framing in mind. And so in that sense, it isn't that the advertisement is slimy because it is trying to sell them ISK when they're down, kick a person when they're down. It's almost deceptive advertisement, because it's selling something as a solution that's not actually a solution. That's why I recommend sending them to the educational stuff. Get them on their way, and then have like an academy package with, that 1,000,000 skill points, the skill accelerator, and 100 plex for $5 that lets you feel like now you died, you saw the pop-up, it said it could explain to you how to be better, you went to the academy, you saw some stuff about how to be better, you now understand how crazy this game is, and now you're interested in buying this recovery package to figure out what to do, and you can actually do something with it. I like that idea. I think that is the goal, or should be, in my opinion, of that particular transaction. Anywho, Dark Thunder 1735, thank you for joining us down the rabbit hole, Chief Online. I do find, like, I've been picking a lot of fights on Reddit recently, and it's been really fun, mostly because they think that downvoting me is going to do any good when I have, like, 11,000 karma. So, good luck with that, I guess. It's not such a flawed statement anymore. In fact, I think people should be teaching that more than ever. Anywho, I've been Ashrothi. I've been playing this game since 2010, talked about it since 2012, and I'm here to put Eve into context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you all for coming and hanging out today. Thank you for all of my people contributing and chatting and all that stuff. And if you like all of this, just realize that this is my full-time everything. It's what keeps a roof under my head, gets me fed, and helps take care of my son. And I am extremely thankful every single day that this gets to be what I do for you guys. More than just the streams, but all the YouTube videos and everything else. If you like what I do and feel like supporting it for me and for everybody, you can do so by subscribing to the Twitch, or by donating to my PayPal, or by checking out my patrons on Patreon, which, a second, this time I'm actually going to read those off because I'm tired of not. These guys are awesome people. Abyssus, Demetri, J. Kuhn's, Fatewinder, Kotoba Manac. We're going to go with Manac. Fayssal, my co-designers of BlackRoseNoble, Darmapunx, Serenalin, and Nephilim, as well as my Immortal tier supporter of Ebo1337 Thank you guys so much. And for those of you who like this show, make sure to send one of those guys a thanks too, because those patrons are really the people that give me the stability to make this happen, as well as all of the other supporters. So once again, thank you. Let's go ahead and raid somebody. Hold up. What's going on? Looks like there's a... Oh, I think I missed a controversy. If you invoke Don't Fly What You Don't Want to Lose, leads to newer players. I said, well, there's a difference between can't afford to lose and don't want to lose. Fear mindset of never undocking for fear of loss, and undocking gets really restrictive and players likely to stop playing. I will say that getting past the fear of undocking and the fear of loss is part of the game for sure. Because, I mean, don't undock what you can't afford to lose is just a matter of don't undock what you would be upset, like breakingly upset if it blew up, because it might. All right. Oh, yes. And my moderator, Fonsui, Commander Cotton Fluff, and Styler. But those guys, as well as the subs and everything, get credited in the credit screen. The Patreon patrons do not. So that's why I have to read them out loud for now. I do want to add them to the credit screen, but I haven't done that yet. Speaking of credit scenes, until next time, I'll see you in space.
Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city